I've been diagnosed with melanoma. My first diagnosis was actually 16 years ago. At the time there was no treatment for melanoma, but I did get offered to take part in a clinical trial for one of the early forms of immunotherapy. I took part in that trial. It worked for me and gave me another 10 years of being melanoma free.
If you come straight to the front desk at the early phase unit, and we'll be able to tell you where you're going to be for that day on the first day of your trial. Usually we will need to take your bloods again to make sure that you're healthy on the day. You will quite often see a doctor, especially if it's your first day on the trial, to make sure that you're feeling all right. We might do some other tests like your observations and check you're feeling just all right in general.
You will have a dedicated research nurse who will be in charge of your overall care. When you come onto the unit, there is a team of 4 nurses who will look after you. You will see all of them during your visit, and you may have different people looking after you each time you come in, but you will get to know all of the nurses who work on the unit.
On the first day you have loads of tests done. You have to stay in for a whole, I think I got in at 8 o'clock in the morning, I didn't leave till 9 o'clock in the evening. You have to be prepared that when you take part in a trial, it is a big commitment. You have a protocol to follow that is nothing to do with the team. They can't change that. You have to just come in and tick the boxes and do what's you're being told to do.
Quite often we'll allocate side rooms for clinical needs. So if a patient is having CT results, or if they're having very intensive treatment or treatment which requires them to be in a side room, they will get priority to be in a side room. Otherwise, you may be put in a bay where you will be with other patients, which is quite nice because you can get to talk to them and get to know each other.
We check all our drugs with a second research nurse, and then we will come to you in your room or in the bay, and we will check that you are who you are and your date of birth, and check it against the drug to make everything safe, and then we will be able to start administering the drug. And if it's your first dose, we will probably stay with you for the first few minutes of that administering.
Some of the treatments will be IV, and they can run from 15 minutes to 4 hours, depending on the type of drug that you're having. Some of the drugs may be injected straight into your tumour, and some of our drugs are oral drugs, which will get you to take whilst you're on the unit, and those ones you may actually be able to take home with you, and it may be that you're required to take them daily, and we just see you on a weekly basis to review how things are going.
You're not stuck in your bed all the time. We'll try and let you know when things are happening, usually at the start of the day when we do all your observations and bloods, and then we can let you know when you're free to go and get a coffee. We have a day room that you can use and go make yourself a snack and things like that.
The reason we keep you on the unit after you've had your drug, or whilst your drug is running obviously, is for us to be able to monitor you and see how you're responding to the treatment. If you do start feeling unwell, you just need to let your nurse know as soon as possible, and we'll do everything we can to reverse that. Because of all the checks that we do before giving you the drug, it's quite uncommon for us to see any major reactions whilst having your treatment.
As soon as you feel anything strange or anything unusual happening, then you can let us know. Even if we're with you, then just let us know straight away, or there will always be a buzzer next to your bed. Quite often we can handle side effects quickly and give you medication to help you feel better. If you're feeling very bad, we'll get the doctor to come and see you straight away and review whether or not we should continue the drug that day.
Take every symptom that you have seriously, even if it's a runny nose, write it down so that you can come into us and tell us what symptoms you've had over time. If we find that every patient in this trial has had a runny nose, we know then that it's not just that they've all got colds. We know that that's something to do with that drug, and that's a really important piece of information.
There are going to be days where you probably just want to go home and you're waiting around, whether it's for blood results or something else to happen, and it can get frustrating. It's part of the process that you have to go through.
Sometimes you may be expected to come in every day to start off with, so that we can collect the data we need for the research. Generally within the first month it will be quite intensive, and you will need to visit the unit a lot, and you may be expected to be here for very long days as well, so that we can collect all the data that we need. But as the studies progress, your visits may get further and further apart, and you may not need to spend as much time on the unit.
Usually the drugs have a set amount of cycles that you would have, so a number of months, but some trials don't, so you might be expected to come in for longer if we think the drug is helping you.
As long as the study is working, the patient can stay on the trial. So that means that you could be on one of our studies minimum a couple of weeks to maximum a couple of years if the study is working well. Patients can withdraw from the trial at any time. So there is no legal obligation to see a study through, or any obligation. If they feel like they wish to discontinue, they can stop.
You'll see all of us whenever you come visit, and we know our patients really well. We'll give you a number that you can call at any time, and our working hours are 8 until 10, so a member of our team will be around to answer any questions then, or if you're feeling poorly. But also we have a 24-hour triage phone that the ward will hold overnight, and if you're feeling at all unwell or have any questions, you can call that number as well.
If you've got any concerns about your health or well-being, you're more than welcome to call the triage number. But if it's a question that you feel could wait until your next appointment or during open hours, then you can just give us a call then.
Our nurses are always available and our doctors are always available, and we have a good out-of-hours service here, so we can make sure that you can be put in contact with somebody who can answer your questions fairly quickly should you have any concerns overnight.
Patients who maybe come for weekly visits will come on the same day as other patients, not necessarily on the same trials as them. They may be on different trials, but they get to know each other, they get to share stories and experiences, which is really nice for them. It's very important that you communicate well with us about your experiences, your feelings and your side effects, because it's the only way that we can help you and help address your needs.
We do build up a close relationship with our patients. Patients do tend to feel that they're quite well looked after because they do get all that attention, and they are vitally important for cancer research, so we really value their contribution, and I hope we make them understand that they are incredibly valuable.
Being on a trial is very different to having normal treatment in the cancer unit downstairs. It takes a little while to get used to the fact that the language that's used is very different. It's not just about you anymore, it's about you, but it's also about the drug. There's a process they're following to try and find out how this drug is going to help people in the future and whether it's working. And if you don't follow that process, that information becomes void, so you have to understand that there are boxes that need to be ticked, and there is a way that things have to be done, and that's just the way it is. You do feel like you're part of a family and part of a team, so once you can get used to the differences, it's actually fine. Taking part in that trial 10 years ago, 11 years ago, has kept me alive to be here now to do it again.